Welcome, acolytes. And of course, Muda's criticism Nox Taco collects backfires horribly from Rev, says Desu. And at some point, Muda's criticism had to just catch him at one point, especially with Noxtaku. Yes, the guy that actually wanted to destroy a career of a streamer just because. Or maybe not even on purpose. I don't think he did it on purpose, but he literally put someone just because he is a freaking idiot and said something he shouldn't have said, just like that, and a lot of hypocritical stance on PORN porn. So yeah, that's just, even with Muda, I mean, for fuck's sake, the people he's hanging with and doing stuff with, it's just, he's literally doing stuff with people who actually go against his beliefs. I don't get it, but it is what it is, I guess. Let's just start and let's go.
So it appears that the Sonichu medallion has claimed another soul. Only a few months after putting on this cursed trinket, Mudahar finds himself in some pretty serious controversy involving this now privated video he uploaded yesterday titled Post Nux Clarity, which, regardless of your thoughts about the content of this video, you have to admit the title is a banger. Now, what was this video about? Well, it was
Okay, just to be clear, Ref is correct about it.
40 minutes of Mudahar disavowing Nux Taku in every shape and form.
Finally, good.
Saying that they are no longer friends and they no longer have a business relationship, and any bridge between the two has been completely burned down. Now, this tweet right here.
This is actually the correct reaction if you find out that one of your friends is actually a degenerate. Perfect. Good. Fair enough.
Really kind of sums up the relevant context you need to know before we get into the video. Of course, there are some re-uploads that we're going to look at today. So this says, Nux goes extreme anti-loli to cater to people like Mudahar. Rev exposes Nux for being a hypocrite. Nux says he's so big he could de-platform Rev. Mudahar makes a video damning and cutting ties with Nux because he considers him a lolicon. Yeah, so that's pretty much how everything went. So about 2 years ago, Nux makes a bunch of tweets and some offhand remarks and videos disparaging people over the topic.
Yep, he literally... Nux thinks he is something. And I mean a big shot in the biggest shots of the big shots. And I am happy that he's slowly but surely falling down and getting shit on. And by the way, if you don't see it yet because my character blocks it, you have the Joker meme, you get what you effing deserve. Perfect. Perfection. Acolytes, you couldn't make it more perfect than this.
Of loli. Now, this is, of course, something that was very hypocritical. I made a video calling all of that out, saying, hey, you have dozens of videos with cropped lolicon in your thumbnail. You've also shown this sort of content to other content creators and reacted to it yourself. And he would make this response video to what I said. And you can see the like-dislike ratio. It is easily the hardest dislike ratio you'll probably find on any video he has uploaded in his entire YouTube career, because...
And I mean, 112k. If I recall correctly, that's not even a lot of activity, especially on his video.
It was just awful. I felt no need to make a video response to this because he essentially cooked himself. Okay, he went after me, hypocritically slandering me over things, also failing to address pretty much any point I made, focusing only on throwing insults at me. Also, he made up some wild claims that my wife was digging for dirt, asking his friends for dirt on him, which is really crazy. On top of that, he also said he could have deplatformed me if he uploaded this on his main Nux Taku channel. Obviously, that didn't go over very well, and that's kind of the Nux side of this whole loli controversy. And now we have the side with Mudahar here. And about 2 years ago, Mudahar made several tweets about the topic, saying that if you watch that stuff, you need to be on a watch list, that it can harm real people, and that it's illegal content and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, his disgust on the topic is totally valid. That's something very understandable and that he's allowed to have, but that doesn't justify spreading misinformation and fear-mongering over the topic, and also being a hypocrite about it as well, as we'll see in this video. And
I will repeat the thing that I think about it again, just for those who wanna hear it. As long as a lolicon actually shows a grown-ass woman that just looks younger or is smaller, I don't care. As soon as it depicts a child, and I think Muda knows the part with the child, with the freaking very, let's just say, wash targets. Wash, if you know that. Yeah, the guy that wants to be a horse. Yes, that's actually, in my opinion, disgusting, and I think I try to be as positive as Mudahar, or positive, or see it from his standpoint, because I was there. And after I seen the freaking child stuff, I was disgusted by it. But now that I learned about it and actually did find out a lot of things, now I accepted it and I know that most of it is normal. That's fine.
On top of that,
Tatsumaki from One Punch Man, still, I like this one thing. Or just to say, yep, look at this, this is fine to me.
A lot of people point out the fact that he has openly admitted to regularly consuming cartel execution videos. So at the very least, regardless of your thoughts on the fictional content, you can say, I don't really know if I want to be virtue signaled about fictional content by a guy who watches people get tortured and brutally executed on camera, right? So that's kind of where we were at, and I held out a lot of copium. I made the mistake of having some copium on the situation because I've enjoyed Mudahar's content for many years, and I know he's had good takes on other things, so I thought maybe one day he would have a more nuanced take on this whole subject and maybe just even ignore it from now on. But then we had this video. And basically, to achieve what we're doing today, we're going to have to talk about some hentai, which seems fitting because if there was tags applied to this situation, it would be mind break, because this topic has mind broken Mudahar to the point where he's saying some pretty unhinged crazy stuff, including making a whole 40-minute video about this topic where he is, of course, disavowing Nux Taku over this subject.
Okay, sorry about the laughter, but Rev just basically didn't say anything. But the mind break tag on their hand, it was just... For me, this was perfection.
So, as I said, the video is now private, but there are re-uploads all over the place. And we're going to start with this clip right here, where he's basically giving kind of the general intro to what we're going to talk about today.
But to go back to it, Nux Taku is a former collaborator, a former friend of mine, and I mean really a former friend of mine, because some of the stuff that I've seen over here is disgusting enough that I really can't continue a friendship, and I really can't, like, again, excuse some of my behavior watching some of this content as well.
So, he makes it very clear from the intro that he is largely disavowing Nux Taku thanks to the fictional content he has consumed and the fictional content he has shared with other content creators, including Mudahar himself. And this is supposed to be another angle of the video where Mudahar is taking accountability for his role in consuming some of this content he believes is illegal. So this is where there's a bit of a longer clip. This goes on for about a minute, but I think it's really important to listen to because he sets up some wild standards that end up basically being self-sabotage.
And again, when I was working with Nux, a lot of the things we did talk about was being anti-loli in that situation. And Nux very much made it clear to me that he was anti this stuff as well too, and he still maintains it to this day. But the kind of stuff that he showed us was anime ni summer. Now, inside the video, inside Nux's presentation, it kind of came off as like just a cursed little hentai. And the reality of it is, I never really watched his collaboration. But if you take the name that Ni Summer has had and put it into my anime list, which I realistically should have done at the time, you can see the synopsis is Yuta Yamayuchi is a average high school student, right? So right there, I'm not going to play the whole semantics, oh, is this really loli game? Like, I don't even care if somebody is like 18 or on the cusp of like turning 19. At the end of the day, high school can very much involve a minor. And when you scroll down and go to the...
So that's really all we got to hear in terms of this point, but he makes several standards here, right? So he's talking about this video that Nux had him react.
And by the way, just if you don't see it, I accidentally, or Ref says I accidentally cut the clip here too soon, where he goes on to say hentai, plus high school loli content.
back to, and he thinks that it contains lolicon by his own definition, and that makes it bad, and he sets up the standard about high school students in high school settings and things like that. So, number one, I do believe that you should care about the definition of a term you're using to chastise others. Okay, he makes it clear that he's kind of just making up his own definition of loli as he goes, but still feels strong enough to use that self-created definition to cancel other people.
By the way, that's called a strawman. A strawman argument. If you create a strawman, you can argue against it as you wish.
That seems a bit irresponsible to me, and if you want a correct definition, I don't care what some Twitter spurg says and their misinformation surrounding the topic, because there is so much misinformation surrounding this topic. Loli is a very simple definition. It is a petite body type in anime and manga. That's it. It comes along with cute aesthetics. It has nothing to do with age. Twitter has filled people's minds with a lot of misinformation on the topic. And if you want proof of that, here's like the easiest example, right? Rebecca from Cyberpunk. She's in her 20s.
Yes.
She is unequivocally a loli. No one can question that. That is literally what she is. Even Studio Trigger, one of the most legendary anime studios out there, categorizes her as that term. This is not a debate. Unfortunately, like I said, Twitter has spread so much misinformation that this very simple term has been manipulated into something used to weaponize outrage about fictional content, to cancel people, and what have you. But anyways, we also see Muda set up this definition about these high school students. Even when these characters are 18 or on the cusp of being 19, it doesn't matter. It's still falling under this lolicon definition of his because of the school uniforms and the school setting, which is not just pretty
It's wrong. It's just wrong. It's just totally wrong.
Reach, to say the least, but also it's incredible self-sabotage. I mean, one of the worst cases of self-sabotage I have seen in quite some time, because in this video that Nux showed, of course, there was those high school students, and his outrage over that.
Yeah, and by the way, because Mudahar, if he gets a video out where he actually can go on the offensive, he has time to prepare, he can do anything he wants, then he's doing good stuff. But as soon as he gets defensive, he talks bullcrap. It's just, he gets hypocritical, he does stuff he shouldn't, he argues against freaking strawmen. This is constant but with him.
That would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that his self-described favorite hentai is Dropout. And if you can't see it from the image from that content, she is wearing a high school uniform, because the entire premise of this hentai is high school students in a high school setting. And I could scroll to the right because there's tags.
Well, do we have to say even more? No.
Included in this image, and I would just have to censor my whole screen. Here's some of the tags, right? There's a high school girl uniform, high school boy uniform. There's R wording in this. There's chloroform. There's snuff. There's other tags like vomit and scat. Like, to the normie side of the internet, which is probably the type of people who are, you know.
What the fuck is... Oh, for fuck's acolytes. I am not an fucking angel, but for fuck's sake. Damn. I am eating for... Oh. You have to... Okay, I need a pause. Sorry, there is a cut here. Yeah, okay, I'm back. Okay.
You know, in Mudahar's circle, that's a pretty hardcore set of content right there. Okay, and it contains the exact thing that he is canceling Nux for by his own definition. And if you don't trust me, I mean, you can listen to him talking about this only a few years ago.
It was Dropout. That was the name. Dropout. Don't. So basically, the premise is, it's like, if you're not smart, like if you're not a smart chick, they turn you into like like a public urinal where like you just get fucked.
You get the point, okay? He's describing the plot. It is something that, by his own definition, is something worthy of losing a friendship
Okay.
over, a business relationship over. So I
Yep.
think that level of hypocrisy and self-sabotage in that 1 minute section of the video was already enough to really scale back any sort of point he was trying to make. But let's move on to the next section.
I'm gonna be honest. Rev goes in the freaking offensive and he goes in with his freaking teeth. I love this. This is good.
stated earlier in the video that a lot of people point out the fact that he consumes these cartel execution videos. And right here, he addresses that point directly.
Now, obviously, I want to address some other, power round criticism before we end this off. Lol, fuck Muda. Dude's been a hypocrite forever as well. Dude virtue signals over cartoons, but loves watching beheading videos. So I want to also address this statement as well. Now, on the podcast, I talked about a morbid curiosity that I have with, beheading videos, cartel stuff on the internet. And I feel like I have to explain this a little bit more. My morbid curiosity comes from the fact that for a long time, for years at this point, I've been looking into the Mexican drug war. And if you ever...
Okay, so he'll go on to clarify that a little bit more, but I think it's just an unbelievable level of copium.
Yep.
What he's trying to say, his morbid curiosity towards this subject, is one from an investigation sort of view, right?
No. There is, if you have, you don't have to have a morbid curiosity to watch this to actually analyze it, because analyzing something and actually watching it from because you like it are two particularly different things.
He's trying to investigate this topic, which is odd because it's like you're not law enforcement. It doesn't give you the right to consume any illicit content you want. And on top of that, that sort of justification could be used for a lot of different illicit content people want to consume online. And again, at the end of the day, we're thinking too hard about this, right? I just don't think people want to be virtue signaled at about fictional content from a guy who can stomach and go through videos of real life people being brutalized in.
And even if it's fictional, the other stuff, I'm not gonna repeat it because I'm still eating. And I have to stop again.
Horrific ways. Okay, I think it's really not that complicated. But the next clip we're going to watch involves some of the blind spots he had towards Nux and possibly other people, but let's listen to what he had to say.
So again, I don't really watch a lot of content creators that I collaborate with, and nobody really does, okay? At the end of the day, when it came to Nux's channel, here I'm signed on with my actual YouTube account, and if it's one thing that you'll see, usually under videos there'll be a red bar. I don't have a red bar under basically any of these videos. I think the only video I have an actual red bar in this is probably... I showed YouTubers the most cultured clips, which I actually browsed through just for the sake of, again, this video.
Okay, so he says some things that are right generally, but they're not correct specifically when referring to Nuxtaku. So yes, I agree with him when he says that a lot of content creators don't watch the content of people they associate with online, whether it's someone they follow or maybe even friends with. They're not going to consume every single video they upload. And I think that's true. I'm mutuals on social media with a lot of people who are content creators. I might have seen one or two videos or a small snippet
makes sense.
of what
Makes
they do.
sense.
I am
Okay.
not sitting there watching every single video they upload. That's just the reality. There's not infinite hours in the day to do stuff like that. So yeah, some things could slip through the cracks here and there. But Nuxtaku to Mudahar is not just some Twitter mutual or random guy they kind of barely know, right? This is someone who he was friends with. This is someone who he collabed with. It wasn't just one video that he was reacting to that hentai with. There was many videos. I can count at least a handful of collab videos they did on Nuxtaku's main channel, and also they ran a podcast together. So you didn't even look at this guy's channel. It's not like you had to watch the videos. Just scroll through the thumbnails and you would see stuff left and right that would probably upset someone with the sort of disgust they have for certain fictional content. On top of that, I do find it kind of hard to believe that he hasn't been exposed to some of these controversies, especially someone who was friends with Nuxtaku, whether it's some of the thumbnail drama and all that stuff and the hypocrisy on the subject of loli, but also some of his bigger controversies like the Tigga controversy, for example, which would be covered.
Exactly the thing that I said at the start. I just forgot Tigga, the name. Sorry about that. If one of Tigga's fans should watch again, sorry, forgot the name of the. But and I don't remember it was he, she. I don't remember it was. It's Tigga is in. It's irrelevant, but you know, Tigga got effed up by Nux. Tigga got really effed up by Nux. Unfairly, by the way.
In this video, he would actually mention what happened with Tigga as a way to show that Nux isn't a very good person. And there's really a lot to say here. If you don't know the Bungo Tigga situation, I'll put a link to one of my videos in the description if you want to check out that whole thing. But he is now bringing this up in this video, acting like this is the first he's ever heard of the Nux and Tigga controversy.
To go over a bit of their controversy, in summer 2022, Tigga was accused of grooming. They made a twit longer where they reviewed the allegations and called them false. Later, an updated Google Doc was created that had evidence that not only were these allegations fake, they were deliberately created by ex-moderators and spread by a stalker of Tigga. So again, this is the Google Doc in question. Now again, I have no idea about this controversy whatsoever. I'm only bringing this up because it was actually a big point of contention for someone like Nux.
So he goes on to talk about the situation a bit, and if you don't know, very briefly, Nux called Tigga a predator based on allegations he had heard at the time. Those allegations were debunked by an independent investigator later on, and Nux made a pinned comment basically saying he would possibly readdress this whole situation if he was found innocent, which Tigga was, but he never really addressed it fully for many, many years. And over the course of basically 2 full years, this was an ongoing controversy that caused a lot of damage to the reputation of Tigga unfairly. And Nux, still to this day, really hasn't fully acknowledged. He's tried to apologize over the summer when this flared up again, but he really didn't do a very good job of it, at least to most people. But this is something that, like I said, been going on for 2 years consistently. A lot of people look at the Vishojo drama and that controversy with Nux, and they think that's the biggest thing he's faced. Maybe in some ways, I think it was the most explosive controversy he was a part of, but the Tigga situation might be the biggest because it's taken place for 2 years, and it regularly flares up like it did over the summer. So I have a hard time believing Muda has never heard about this until now.
No, I don't believe it. That's incredibly unlikely. And I am sure Nux talked about it with Muda.
Especially since the first attempt at an apology by Nux, the first time he addressed it, was about a year after he initially called Tigga a predator in a collab video with Moist Critical. He did that on the Some Ordinary podcast. He referred to making mistakes with that situation. It was very vague. But again, how do you not know this ever happened? I mean, it's either just putting on blinders, like he said, he's been putting on blinders to people he's friends with, or the worst possibility is that he's only bringing this up now to disparage Nux, which shows he doesn't really care about the situation, if that's the truth. If he really did know about this beforehand, but if he didn't, at the very least, he's been having very active blinders to some of the controversies that Nux has been a part of. And this whole question of bringing up things during this video, there was a question of why do this at all, right? Like, why even bring up any of this stuff to begin with? And I think it becomes pretty obvious that there's been a big flare-up of people calling out Mudahar and his connection to Nux and some of the collabs he did with him.
And good, by the way.
Thanks to a Reddit post that was blowing up. He made the cardinal mistake of caring what Reddit thinks.
But one of the clips that I saw, one of the things shared, was resurfaced video of Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Nuxtaku watching loli together on a Discord call. So when I see this kind of stuff, it blows me, and obviously it flashbangs anybody, and I want to definitely have a talk about it and really explain to you exactly what this is, what it's about, give you my side of the perspective, and again, take accountability where accountability needs to be fucking taken.
So, yes, you can see this was the intro of the video, but he makes it clear that this post is what drove him into this, and I do probably believe that is the truth. I think this is what made him, or motivated him to make this video. I think it's pretty clear. It got under his skin, and a lot of other content creators have been coming for him, even calling Muda a predator and all these things for the content he was exposed to while reacting to those videos with Nux Taku. And it really begs the question of who was this video for? Was this video for entertainment and the entertainment of his audience? Or was this to quell concerns among his colleagues and really like commentary channels, generally speaking? And I think it's the latter. And I think if he had a more level-headed reaction to this whole situation, clearly this was a very emotionally charged video. I think if he went with a clearer head, he wouldn't have made this video. When you get to a point where you're making a video not for entertainment or the informing your audience of a situation or anything like that, when it becomes like an airing out of personal grievances against people or things like that, that tends to have a bad reaction. And the reaction from the people to Mudahar when his video was still up was very largely negative. The majority of comments were negative. There was a heavy dislike ratio. I think it was very clear that people were just not really impressed by a 40-minute video attacking someone over fictional content, attacking to the point where you end a friendship and a business relationship over it. But there's also this is the post that I'm referring to, by the way. I'm a little scattered here with all these tabs open, but this was the post on Reddit if you're curious. But this is the conclusion of the video, so let's listen to his final thoughts and kind of how he wraps up everything in this video.
At the end of the day, I make fuck-ups. Human beings, we all make fuck-ups. I think choosing how you acknowledge those fuck-ups, that goes a long way. And how I choose to acknowledge this fuck-up is basically, again, by completely being 100% transparent, honest with you, shedding light on things like the podcast shutting down. And ultimately, I want to move past this, leave this behind, and really just sort of end this on a note where at least I get my side of the story out. For the last...
So, obviously, he harps on taking accountability a lot during this video, and then the video goes private. So kind of like, what was the point of all of this? I'm not quite sure, but he would make a community post on YouTube saying this: regarding the last video about Nux, while I can't be a friend after some of the things that have resurfaced, I do feel I did do an overreaction that stemmed from being emotional on the reaction from the community on Reddit. Again, paying attention to anything Reddit says is a huge mistake. But he continues on saying, I've been watching my content for the past few weeks and realized my channel has slipped into a slop channel. I've made more drama-related content over the last several months than I have fun, engaging, and informative content. That includes producing videos that don't release daily. I need to take more time and release content a couple times a week that stands in quality and not quantity. I don't do this for a job, so honestly, going out of my way to constantly chase trends has done nothing beneficial for me other than alienating my most hardcore fans. I need to take a few days off and reset and produce better content that isn't the latest trends or internet drama. While that produces a good view count, it's not the kind of content I want to be known for. I'll be back with content that I'm proud of. In regards to past collaborations, all I can do is apologize and promise to do better.
Okay.
So that's kind of the end of the situation, and probably the best thing for him to do, which is touch grass. Take a break from this stuff. What happened with Nux and this whole topic has clearly really gotten into his head, and it led to 40 minutes of really just some disappointing content. And like I said earlier in the video, I've been a fan of his content for years, and I would like to see a return. But for a lot of people, after seeing kind of this whole thing go down, they might not be giving a second chance. But that's up to every individual person. And yeah, feel free to react the way you want to that situation. But for now, that's going to do it for...
Acolytes, I am just deep in this right now. This is... Especially Muda. Muda is just such a respected person, but he has his fucks up. He has a lot of them. As it is, good night, Acolyte.